What is your take on leadership?
Oh, if you define it that broadly, I think it's quite overrated.
It is.
I think leadership. I mean, there's one thing. It's you can call it. It plays an important role or it plays the important role. So I would argue that it plays an important role. It is an element, not the crucial element. The reason why it's given so much hype and buzz is to justify the large salaries of the people who claim themselves to be leaders. Otherwise, it would be hard for them to justify the huge amounts of privileges and resources that they extract from others.
um, in some ways is overrated. A naive view of if it is if leadership is considered in a very naive way, then indeed it is overrated. But true leadership can never be overrated.
Okay. Well, leadership, Assalamu alaikum. Leadership is handling change in an organization. And if you go back to your OB, there are two aspects to being in an organization. One is to manage an organization, and one is to lead it. And I think we need to differentiate the two for the purpose of this particular interview.
What I'm talking about is that to me leadership involves three components: the clarity of where we are going or where I wish to go, the ability to inspire a set of people to share that vision, and thirdly the hard work which is required to achieve anything.
Do you feel that it's something that can be taught in a classroom setup?
Leadership, it's a good question. Not really. I don't think leadership can be taught. I think leadership is something that is, it's like saying, can reputation be managed?
Do you believe that leadership can be learned in the classroom?
I think the answer is no. I think what you can learn in the classroom is how to describe leadership. But describing something is not the same thing as learning something.
दूसरा इसमें ये फैक्टर है कि some things are inborn, okay, and nobody is denying that those things are not inborn, and if those things are inborn in you, you should thank your parents and the Almighty that you were born with those capabilities. But that is a given thing. Everybody is born with a certain persona. But after you are born and you are here, how do you polish it? How do you improve whatever you have? So the key challenge for humans, I guess, is that how do you add that delta?
I mean, particularly leadership or reputations or integrity, these can be taught purely as a academic exercise. I think there's a real danger of fragmenting or separating knowledge from action. I mean, how do you teach people how to pray? You can't teach it as an academic exercise, learning by doing.
Exactly.
Or how do you teach people to ride a bike? I mean, you cannot have an academic discourse on bike riding unless people actually get on the bikes. And in that process, they learn. But in order to learn, they need to have reflective capabilities.
Sir, throughout this past few months, we have been doing different activities for the CPD class and like paintball, and then we went to this trip also, cliff diving and different mountain climbing, these kind of activities. Do you think these kind of activities do enhance this leadership quality in one person?
Again, this kind of goes into the previous question, which is that these are again experiences which are going to add to part of your leadership skills. Okay. Books will add to another part of your leadership skills. Your experience at home in terms of how do you handle a crisis at home is going to add another part to your leadership skills. So all of these activities and your trip to Khanpur and your trip to India, and I know that people had lots of trouble with your trip to India, and that's what I was saying, that this is the time where you build on your leadership skills, that how do you handle a crisis in such a situation.
Through a clarity of vision, and what you just described to me does not seem to involve much clarity of vision. To me, leadership is aiming towards a high goal, trying to achieve a vision. And the activities you described, for most people, would not be very visionary activities.
But on the other hand, classrooms can be useful in exposing people to individuals who have inspired human beings to pursue ideals which have been found to be justifiable.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Javed Ghani.
You
Thank
are welcome.
Thank
Okay.
you very much for your time.
And good day and good evening to class of 2011.
Thank you, sir.